The man was flying private for the first time, but he was horrified to find the pilot was asleep.
Joe. Hey, Joe!
He called the pilot twice but got no response. That's when the man realized something was wrong. To make matters worse, the plane was visibly shaking without anyone in control. He reached for the pilot's carotid artery, but the next second he broke out in a cold sweat. He couldn't believe the pilot, who had just been joking around, was now dead. Staring at the out-of-control instrument panel, the man started to panic. Still in denial, he reached for the pilot again, but the cold touch didn't lie. The pilot was indeed gone. The man quickly turned around to check the cabin. Thankfully, his family hadn't noticed anything wrong. His two daughters were still arguing over a piece of chocolate. He turned back and forced himself to calm down. But a plane isn't a toy. Looking at the control stick in front of him, his hands hovered in the air, unsure what to do, afraid even the slightest touch could cause disaster. Thankfully, he adjusted his mindset in time, and carefully reached forward.
Hello?
Luckily, that wasn't the eject button, and he successfully contacted ground control. To keep his family calm, he covered the headset and explained the situation, but his nervous movements still caught his wife's attention.
Stay back there with the kids, alright?
She unbuckled her seatbelt and ignored his attempts to stop her, walking straight into the cockpit. The moment she saw the scene, she was shocked. When she learned the pilot had no pulse, she instinctively tried to perform CPR, but just as she went to unbuckle his belt, the next second, the plane suddenly lost control and plunged toward the ground. The situation inside the cabin became critically dangerous, but just in time, the man managed to lift the pilot back into his seat, barely dodging death. The plane regained altitude and flew forward. With his daughter's help, they moved the pilot's body, while his wife took the co-pilot seat. Acting as a liaison with ground control, she encouraged her husband to believe in himself, but the real test was just beginning. Using the flight manual, his wife discovered the plane was still on autopilot, and they were now at 5,000 meters, still steadily climbing. If it stayed this way, they would eventually die from lack of oxygen. They had to turn off autopilot now, so the man could take full manual control. For his family's safety, he decisively turned off autopilot.
Caution.
Mom, what is that?
Manual caution.
Alright. I turned it off.
Then he pulled the yoke, and began to slowly descend. Luckily, the man had played flight simulator games before, so he quickly stabilized the aircraft, and gradually flew toward Miami Airport.
Ma'am, you find me the longest and the widest runway you can.
Soon the plane descended to 3,000 meters. The view outside was both dangerous and breathtaking, and the man was getting the hang of flying, but he never expected the plane was actually getting farther from Miami. Turns out, to avoid a major disaster, the control center had redirected them to a smaller airport. That way, even if something went wrong, the airline's losses would be minimized.
Whoa, wait a minute, you're gonna hand me off to someone else?
It's affirmative. You'll be crossing into their airspace.
These are good people. We've got you, okay?
Hearing the voice on the radio, the man's face turned pale with anger, but things got even worse. A strong